Welcome to Tech Tuesday on the Final Boss podcast, where innovation meets attitude, and the future gets decoded one byte at a time. I'm your host, Turbo the CEO, and your co-host, Mike Foth. And today we're diving deep into the tech trenches to uncover the tools, trends, and truths shaping tomorrow. Whether you're a code slinger, gadget geek, or just tech curious, this is your weekly power-up. So grab your controller, plug in, and let's level up.
Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, Tech Tuesdays, Season 4, Episode 208. Man, listen, the Sensei is back, man. Look, ignore my voice. Ignore it. Don't laugh. Don't pay attention to me. The Sensei is in the building, and it's his first time back for Season 4. Let's welcome him. Hey, let's give him the honor that he deserves. Let's give him another clap, y'all. Let's give him another clap. Ooh-wee, man. Sensei is back. Oh, man. I'm so excited, man. Good to see you, sir. Glad you are. First, how you feeling? How do you feel?
Feeling good. Feeling good. Living a dream.
Good.
Ready to study the
Living
machine.
the dream. Let's get into the machine, people. Listen, this is Season 4, Episode 208, man. And we got this, look, we're going to be talking about some great things tonight. Now we got the Sensei back in the building, man. We missed him. He's a huge part of the Final Boss Podcast, man. And look, his voice is one of the voices of the voiceless, right? So we speak for those who don't have a voice, and that's why we're here. But look, man, let me tell you guys something, right? Let me tell you right now. First and foremost, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Had to give you the greeting of the day, right? Had to give you the greeting of the day. So if you're not following us, make sure you guys go like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe. Can't say it enough, man. Like, share, subscribe, right? No matter where you're watching, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Spotify, Instagram, and on X, man. We're everywhere, man. Go check us out. We're everywhere. We got some brand new folks in, right? We got some brand new folks. Shout out to Molly, who's in the building. We got Jacondi's in the building. We got the always analytical and always present Andrea is in the building, man. Let's give those let's give them applause for joining us early. We got some other folks, man, who are joining us early too, and they're sitting on the sidelines. I see them, right? But I've talked enough about that, right? I've talked enough about that. We get ready to get into the show. We are getting ready to get it into the show. And listen, man, we are on this journey together. This journey, man, we're building the Final Boss Podcast. We're building the Final Boss Nation. We're building the Final Boss family. And I want you guys to all understand that we're all in this together, right? We are all in this together. So let's get right into it. First, I already welcomed the Sensei back, right? And if you don't know, this is Season 4 for those newcomers, right? Season 4, the Rebirth. I am the Final Boss, right? And this is Tech Tuesday, right? And if you've been rocking with us since the beginning, you already know what Tech Tuesday means. It means that the Sensei is in the building, right? It means we're going somewhere most people are not going and not ready for. And it means by the time this is over, you're carrying something out of here that changes how you operate, how you think, how you move, right? Before I bring him in, I need to say something directly to the community, right? To the smarts, to the Final Boss, to the motivators, and the warriors. Every single one of you in this room right now, Season 4 is the Rebirth, and the word is not decoration on a season title. It is the operating instruction for everything we build this season, because the Rebirth is not an upgrade. It is a complete reconstruction from foundation up. Give us a second. Hold on, guys. We having some tech difficulties. We shall be right back. Give us a second. All right, we're back. As I was saying, right? It means we are going somewhere most people are not going, are prepared to go, and it means by the time this is over, you are carrying something out of here, man. You're going to remember, right? You're going to it's going to help you move differently. It's going to change how you operate. And before I bring the sensei in, I need to say something, right? I need to say something directly to the community, to the smarts, to the final boss, to the motivators, and to the warriors, to every last single one of you, even if you aren't in the community, you just joined us, right? I got to tell you guys this, right? We've been on a journey together. We've been on a journey together, and it's been a fantastic journey, right? And season 3 was the reckoning, right? We held the mirror up, we looked at it, what we built, what we broke, and what we avoided, and what we needed to face, right? The rebirth, right? And we took everything from the reckoning, revealed and rebuilt, and the architecture, the foundation, and new versions of ourselves, man. But season 5, that's on its way. Season 5 is the harvest. It's going to be different, man. It is going to be different. Now, look, before I lose my voice completely, I'm gonna get into the brass tacks, right? I'm gonna get into the brass tacks, man. So tonight's brass tacks is this right here. Asiatic AI is expected to expand from near zero adoption in 2024 to 15% of enterprise decisions in 2028, with early adapters already reporting 40 to 60% reductions in manual work. Start Us Insights, right? That's where it came from. 2026 breakthrough technologies in the report. And that is the brass tacks, man. Now, look, one more thing before the sensei comes on board, right? The field is full. I need you to imagine this. The field is full. The season has changed, and the people who plan it are already collecting, right? They've already collected. And tonight we're going deep as the topic demands, as typical and technical as the truth requires, and as real as this community deserves, right? This is not a prediction episode. This is a collection episode, right? So get your pens and papers ready, get your notes out, right? And the smarts already know this. Final bosses already know this. Motivators already know this. And my warriors already know this, man. So look, we're getting ready to go ahead getting started, man. So before we do, moment of silence, right? Moment of silence, man, because I need to hydrate the throat. Oh man, that feels so much better. Okay, all right. So, Sensei, level the field before we run. This community is wide. The smarts in here already building with this technology. The warriors are coming at this from an operational inside, right? Motivators have conviction, and final bosses are have the competitive edge. The foundation is clear. My question: what is an AI agent, and what makes it different from what people already been using?
So what we've been using right now is you use Chat or Claude or Perplexity or any of the other large language models, and you use it to ask it questions. It's just a glorified Google search. So you ask it to do the one thing, and it gives you an answer. Then you can take that information and do with it what you will, but you're the one who's the final response portion of it. But what's happening is these AI agents, they don't just respond to prompts. You give them a goal and it goes for it. It builds its own path. It uses the multiple tools at its disposal. It self-corrects and then it delivers an outcome. Whether or not it's the outcome you want,
Mm,
it's going to be based upon the goal that you ask it, but it's going to do it without any more input from you. It's just going to hit it and run.
wow. Okay.
I mean, it's just it's wild. So what
Man.
happens is you're already talking about many companies are already laying off people, like lots and lots of
Mm-hmm.
folks, because they're trusting more and more that AI can do redundant tasks. I mean,
Man.
look at when you try and talk to a support for a company and they throw you at a chat bot. Well, the chat bot's an AI agent, and it asks you a series of questions prior to you even getting to talk to a person. And those tools are happening rapidly.
Wow. That it is, my friend. That it is. So thank you for sharing that. And as we do on the Tech Tuesdays, it's time to build, man. So let us build, right? Let us build. So um the difference is not the intelligence, it is the autonomy.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. Look,
Mm,
it's not any smarter than it used to be. It just now has power to do things. See,
okay.
now you have a worker. The tool waited, the
Hmm.
worker moves.
Mm,
That's the difference. So it doesn't require human interaction anywhere near like it used to. It's
right.
autonomous. It does its own thing.
Hmm.
It's just like hiring an employee and saying work, and it'll work 24/7. It just
Wow.
goes it. Hmm.
It's a yep. So you had a tool. Now you have a worker, like you just mentioned.
Hmm.
The tool waited, the worker
Hmm.
moves. That is the entire shift in one sentence. And the rebirth of AI looks exactly like that. Something passive became active, something that responded became something that initiates. The transformation is cosmic, it's structural, and everybody in this community understands that, right? But we need to understand the structure before we talk about the stakes. So, Sensei, keep building, man. Keep building.
Well, look, we've talked about already the companies that are adopting, and those are the
Hmm.
big companies that are doing the big investments. Okay, so what's going to occur is, and I see it already happening more and more, even in healthcare, that the healthcare are depending more upon AI to get the job done. And
Right.
so what they're doing is they're saying, well, we're making your job easier. Well, what they're actually
Mm,
doing is they're getting ready to replace you because the AI is going to do your job, and you're going to teach it how to do your job. And it's pretty wild the spending and the money that's going into this right now.
right.
It's pretty wild. You're talking early adopters, 40 to 60% reductions in manual labor.
Mm,
And you got to ask yourself, what kind of jobs are those that are going
right,
away? And
man.
whether or not the company does it makes a good decision in doing that, it doesn't matter because it's going to be the bottom line they're after.
True,
We've
true.
already covered this in previous sessions where we talked about you follow the money, you know why.
Yeah, man. We needed to hear that. We definitely needed to hear that. But hold on for a second because you said something. And like I said, the community needs to hear this, but they need to hear it fully, right? 40 to 60% of manual work gone, not restructured, not optimized, gone. And the companies producing or those numbers moved on this early, right? In some cases, just 12 to 18 months ago. The gap between the early movers and everybody else is already real. And it widens every single quarter that passes.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's pretty crazy. You know, if the competitor is already pushing,
mhm.
they're going to cut their manual workload down, and therefore it means what more to them? Profits,
Profits.
and they're going to outstrip you.
Yeah.
And they'll before you finish reading about it, it's already going to be done. It's already going to be done.
Mm,
There's projections right now what the spending is in 2026 alone,
mhm.
and it's in the trillions. And this is not just crazy money. This is deployment money. This is getting it done money. It's installation money. Checks
Right.
already been written. And
Wow.
these numbers, you might not think they mean anything
Wow, man.
because you only think about the big companies. You don't think about how it affects small companies.
Mhm.
Because what's going to happen?
Right.
The Walmarts are going to come in and they've got the big checkbook. And the mom and pop hardware
Mhm.
store goes out of business because they can't compete with the Walmart. It's going to be that
Right.
kind of a situation. Only it's going to be
Mm.
even further deployed. It's going to,
Wow.
companies that do services are going to be affected so much. And the whole structure of how we used to do business is going to be rewritten. We're not talking to, next year, 2 years. It's happening now. I mean, in March 2026 alone, OpenAI has already released GPT 5.4. And you say, well, that's just another number. What's it mean? Well, it's the newest model. It's the frontier model. It's the
Right.
top of the line for them. The problems we used to
Mhm.
have with chat are slowly going away. They're fixing the issues.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
used to have a problem called hallucination, where if it didn't know the answer, it would lie to you. Well, hallucinations
Right.
have already been dramatically reduced.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
And so it's getting better and better and better. But here's what's going to happen. Do you think you're going to get that top of the line performance from that system just by logging in and using it? No, it's going to be
No.
tiered. You're going to
Yeah.
pay.
Yep.
And he who has the
Hey.
money is going to get access to the good stuff. So you're going to get
Right. Right.
layers, and you're going to have the low layer of,
Mhm.
of the folks who use the free version get almost nothing. They get the old
Right.
model. And then
Mhm.
you pay for a little bit, you get some decent performance, but you don't get a lot. It's going to take big
Right.
money on a regular basis to have a good enough level of buy-in that you get to
Mhm.
go into the high limit room. And that's where the big stuff happens. You want to make big money in casinos, where do you go? The high limit room. You don't go out with
Right.
everybody else's at. The odds are terrible. You go in the high limit
True.
room. Well, who can afford to go in the high limit room, right?
Right.
Look, Google just rolled out its Gemini 3.1.
Mhm.
It's Flashlight is set to run faster and cheaper AI deployments,
Mhm.
and NVIDIA just announced its next generation Rubin supercomputer platform to power these massive AI workloads. And
Wow.
we've already talked about that Micron, one of the top three chip manufacturers in the world, is
Mhm.
already stopped making consumer products and are focused on AI products and AI chips. And Tesla just got done releasing they're going to be doing chip. What's Tesla one? I can't even remember the name of it. They just came out with it just last couple days. They're going to start making their own chips.
Yeah.
So the big players are already moving the ball forward, and it's not slowing down.
That is it. That is true.
And we haven't even talked about some of the impacts: power, energy, water. So it's pretty wild. The impacts are going to be felt. You're going to get a larger electric bill because you're paying for AI.
People already are. Yep.
They already are.
In this instance, I see that the operator became the commander, right? And the motivators, you guys needed to hear that, right? So let the sensei keep building.
So, it's like whoever picks up the tools first is going to be the one who's going to win. They're going to one who's going to be getting ahead. If you're a late adopter, you're going to be always behind. You're never going to be able to catch up. Because as fast as you think you can learn something and do something, it's already going to be already completed and performed and perfected by someone else.
Right.
And how does it actually function? What's an AI agent actually do? And this is the part that's really interesting. It uses multi-step reasoning. It's a tool use, memory, autonomous planning loops, autonomous by itself. It can plan and then execute and then cross-check. So there's 3 layers that make it dangerous: the perception, what it sees, the cognition, what it decides,
right,
and then the action, what it does. So the issue with that is like, okay, it's great. What does it see? You can upload pictures right now to chat and tell it, hey, look at this. What do you see? What's wrong with this? And it'll already analyze a picture that you took with your camera and tell you what it sees.
Yep, it can.
Now, once it does that, that means any camera that it uses or touches or has access to, it can use that for input. Then it can decide what it's going to do with that information. And then because it's an agent, an autonomous agent, we've given it the tools to do what it needs to do. Right. Whether or not, it's like the genie, right? When you rub the bottle, what do? You get 3 wishes. And what's the problem with the wishes? No one knows how to wish properly.
Right.
And it never ends up the way you think it should.
Man.
I mean, it's just the way it is.
Right. That architecture, the 3 layers that you just mentioned, that's the OODA loop, right? And for my smarts, motivators, warriors, and motivators out there, fighter bosses, OODA loop, that's OODA. But do your research, right? But do your research. And Sensei, Sensei just walked you through that, right? He was talking about the 3 layers: observe, orient, decide, right? And every time, man, we got to give you guys the doctrine. And what you just described in an agent running that loop at match machine speed, observing, orienting, and deciding and acting, because I forgot acting, is faster than any human operator could, right? And man, you are operating in a completely different category of speed than the systems already deployed in your competitive space.
And efficiency.
And efficiency, yeah.
But because they're building into them self-correcting. So it used to be we would have, and we teach this in security, that you would first have your development, and then from development you would then test, and from testing you would then stage, and then staging you would then deploy into production. So you have a whole series of steps that have to happen before you can make something go live. Well, this doesn't require human interaction to go through this anymore. It can just do this, like you said, at machine speed. So the issue with doing it at machine speed is all those steps that you normally would do yourself are all going to be done, and AI coding tools are now capable of writing production-ready software. So they're automating the significant portions of the development, testing, and deployment. And the developments are facing real questions right now about quality control and oversight.
Mm-hmm.
What's the problem with that? If you have a software that says deploy this and it goes, okay, and you gave it power to deploy,
Right.
what happens if it did something that was totally out there?
Right.
It's already deployed.
It's already
Who
deployed.
who's
Yeah.
watching to make sure that it's
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yep.
And what's this mean for developers?
Right.
Okay. Here's where it comes down to the real big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you're already in the industry and you're already a developer and you already know how development works, and you can then learn how to use these tools, and you can maintain or keep your job because you're the one watching the coding for the AI.
Right.
But here's where it comes down to it. What about a new developer trying to get into the workforce? What about
Mm.
those basic jobs, the low-level jobs? So a
Right.
low-level job, you would go in as a low-level developer, work under somebody else. They would test your code, you would learn, and you would become a higher-level developer because you're working under a team of other developers.
Right.
That entry level is going to be gone.
Mm.
You can't. How does an entry-level person compete with the AI?
It's impossible.
Absolutely impossible. That's just for developers.
Yeah.
So companies that employ developers, we used to get forced into, we have to outsource overseas, right? That was the big kick.
Mm-hmm.
Outsource everything to overseas. Well, what do we find out when we did that? We learned a lesson that when you outsource to overseas, the quality drops. You remember the debacle of outsourcing all of the IT support to overseas
Yeah. Yeah.
and the pushback on that? And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
companies pulled back their support back into the United States
True.
because they needed to be able to have a functioning system that our customers would relate to and use.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start talking about developers, the same thing has happened, that companies shifted all the development to overseas organizations to write code,
Right.
but they're trying to then pull back or augment that to even get rid of those guys.
Wow. Mm.
So that tide and that wave is just going to repeat itself. And
Man.
who's going to suffer? Your entry level people who would normally have 3 to 5 years to get up to speed and become solid, productive workers.
Mm-hmm.
They will have no foothold at all.
Right. Man.
That's our
Man.
future.
That's our future. Right. So much for development teams, man. We're going to be taking a lot of hits. Now, thanks for that, sir. The warriors in the room who have technical backgrounds, they need the full version. They need to hear the not the softened version. They need to hear that their role is possibly changing. The real version says if your entire value proposition is writing code, that an agent now writes faster and with fewer errors, that is live signal requiring immediate action, not panic, action. And the difference matters, right? And the rebirth principle applied directly to a career requires something to die first. The part of the professional identity built on execution speed, right? Systems can emerge, right? And the pivot is people are not displaced. They can get elevated, right? They need to hear that. They need to hear that they can get elevated, right? They need to know that they can lead the next wave. The question is whether you choose fast enough, right? So, listen, people, we're not having a incomplete conversation tonight, right? We're having a a let's say agentic, I'm sorry, AI as one that skips what is happening globally. Sensei, let's talk about the China factor, and let's give it to a real talk.
Okay. So we only hear about a couple of AI agents or large like LLMs, large language models. We only hear a couple of them. We hear about, like I said, Grok, Claude, Chat, Perplexity. We hear about your Microsoft. You hear about your Google's version. You hear about several, okay, but you don't hear about a lot. Did you know
Right.
China has at least 130 large language models globally compared to
Wow.
50 in the United States?
Mm.
And listen to this one. Every major Chinese technology firm operates its own chatbot and model products in a landscape that's defined by AI nationalism and rapid development cycles. And this is
Wow.
not a technology story. This is a geopolitical story. The technical implications on having so many competing models is advancing simultaneously is insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane because that means that who is leading the way? Where are
Right.
the breakthroughs going to happen? Less or more?
Mm-hmm.
Breakthroughs happen when you overwhelm the environment. And when you have individualized LLMs, that's pretty amazing. And you can go into chat and tell it to explore GPT and look
Mm-hmm.
for language models that are subsets of the overall chat, which get more specific into what you're working on and get and really work out really well. Some of them are pretty darn good
Right.
because they're keyed into what you're working on. Well, imagine it.
Mhm.
In China, they already have chatbots and products for everything. It's
Wow.
already done.
Yeah.
And it seems like in that scape, we're a little bit behind the times.
Mm.
I mean, it's just the way it is.
Right. Molly, Molly in the chat, she just brought up a great point. She said, and this is from Molly, Molly Foth 4666. Right now, technological advancement is driven by many interests, but humanity is not one of them. Hey, Molly, thank you for bringing us that tidbit. That that speaks volumes to exactly what we're talking about tonight, right? This is not a product launch. This is a flag planted in the ground. Sensei, keep building, please.
Well, I mean, we saw this again. I'm referring back to historic, not that long ago,
Mhm.
when the nation of India invested massive amounts of money and training into making programmers out of its people. And they
Right.
had massive apartment complexes where these folks would go in there and they would just code and they would
Mhm.
learn how to work in the digital environment. That gave them a huge heads up and a huge lead over other countries because they had developed and spent the money on development of their own systems. Okay, they got trained on what was out there in the world, and they took advantage of that. And that was not a privatized; it was a strategic nation move. It was a national move where the
Mhm.
nation moved in that direction, and the people followed, and it gave them a heads up above other countries. So
Right.
when a nation treats AI like the military branch,
Ooh.
the rest of the world is already in a conflict.
Mm.
It's already
Man,
here
it's already here.
because this is happening at a higher level than just your mom and pop grocery store trying to figure out how to get more efficient at doing paperwork.
Wow. 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 And thank you for that, man. And you said something key there. You said something about when a nation treats AI like a military branch. Everybody else is already in a conflict they have not officially declared. That is not theory, people. This is the actual competitive environment, and it affects your business, your career, your industry, and everything that is operating inside you right now. Now, um, at this moment, right? At this moment, to my smarts, to my warriors, to my final bosses, to my motivators, The information we deliver on this show is not locked behind the paywall, right? The research we're giving you is public. The tools are accessible. The barrier is not access. The barrier is urgency. Most people hear content like this and say, this is fascinating. I need to look into that. Then they close the app and go back to what they were doing. This is not the final boss way, right? That is not the warrior standard. That is not the motivator mindset. And I need my smarts in my room who already know this. I need you to hear this, right? You move, you identify, right? Which lane this opens for you, and you get in it. That is the conversion. Sensei, anything before we push into the second half of the show?
I mean, you're nailing it. You know, if you're going to take this information, it's no good if you don't do something with it.
Right.
And the problem is that we try to bring current relevant facts to the forefront.
Right.
We try to help change your way of thinking so that you can look forward and beyond the noise and cut through the noise. But if you don't do anything with this information, then you're complacent.
Yeah.
And when something happens and you're left behind, you can't blame anybody but yourself.
Right.
So that's where accountability comes into play.
Absolutely.
And you have to
Absolutely.
be accountable for your own actions. And if you want to move ahead, you need to work at it.
Yeah. That is
You
correct.
need to work at it. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Listen, the space that we're in, this is operational. This is deployed, right? And we're running it right now on both sides of the line, right? And to my warriors in this community, you need to hear this. And I need you to hear this with both ears open, because this is where technology and defense intersect. This is your lane. Go ahead, Sensei.
So, there's three questions that everybody should be asking themselves right now.
Mm.
What now, if you're just a worker, that's fine. But also know these same questions apply to you.
Yeah.
Because you can contribute and you can learn the tool so that you don't lose your job. You can be valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So, what in my business am I doing manually that an agent could handle? So, you have to ask yourself that. Okay. And the only way to know that is, what are my work processes? What is my workflow?
Right.
And then analyze it and say, hey, what can an agent do to make it more efficient? If you ever
Right.
heard of lean manufacturing
Mm-hmm.
is a process where they do what's called following a spaghetti string. And through the entire process of manufacturing, they would take the time to walk through an entire factory and follow, okay, one widget from the beginning to the end. And they
Mm-hmm.
take that and map it and then make that efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's called lean manufacturing. You get rid of the wasted steps. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do that, what can an agent do to help unravel that? What decision am I making today that I should be delegating to AI tomorrow?
Right.
And here we go. What competitor of mine is already doing both?
Mm.
So information is free. You can
Mm-hmm.
still get information for free. But the application, that's the price of admission. And so the problem with that is again, I said there's going to be layers to this, and you see it happening in the newest rollout of 5.4. It's going to be more layered than the current version. You're going to have to pay more to get the good stuff,
True.
and you might get teased with a little bit of the good stuff to get you hooked. Then you want it, and then you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And and you ask yourself, what makes a job valuable? Scarcity of knowledge made jobs valuable.
Mm.
Attorneys are valuable because they have scarcity of knowledge.
Right.
What happens when that scarcity is gone?
Mm.
Where's that value then?
Right.
Scarcity of knowledge. A doctor who can analyze your health
Mm-hmm.
and recommend what to do to fix you,
Right.
and has a lot of knowledge and experience. What happens when that scarcity of knowledge is gone?
That part right there. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then the value isn't there.
Right.
And what's the value of spending 12 years of schooling and going through all of what it takes to become a doctor
Mm-hmm.
when an AI tool already does better than what you could do after 20 years of experience?
Yeah.
So what's left? You got to ask yourself, what's going to be left?
Yeah. What's going to be left?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I saw an article today that said Bill Gates said only three um, employment lanes won't be affected by AI. 3.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's insane. Now you spoke on some things, right? But I want to touch on and pivot for a second, right? And talk about cybersecurity posture, right? And talk about it how it's built around human response cycles, right? We're already losing
Well,
war, right? Because you're fighting a speed war. And we're, according to us, we're the slow weapon. If
well,
you had not, yeah, go ahead.
no, I'm saying you said it right there.
And
I'm
if
agreeing with you.
to my smarts, motivators, warriors, and find about so listen, man, if you aren't talking about AI right now, if you haven't had that serious conversation about AI security posture, that conversation needs to happen before the end of this month, not the end of the year, this month, right? Strategy cannot wait until the breach. You need to be talking about it so you can implement, right? So you can implement. And there's something on this particular board. I'm looking at everybody's comments that the mainstream conversation is not given enough space to. It connects directly to the infrastructure question underneath everything we have discussed. The smarts already have some context on this one already because they're posting it. But the whole community needs the full picture, Sensei. The energy problem. Let's talk about the energy problem and the rising of everyone's energy bill.
Mm, mm, mm. That's unbelievable. The energy use is already it's crazy. Now,
Yeah,
understand that right now power is the problem
yeah.
because the data centers are using massive amounts of chips, thousands of clusters of chips, enormous amounts of energy. And what they're
Hmm.
doing is they're pushing the computing and networking to its limits.
Right.
So what's going to happen is there's got to be a revolution in that world, otherwise it's going to break. It can't keep
Mm,
going. Now,
true.
I'll give you an example. Back in the day when you had a CPU or a processor, your
Hmm.
brain for your computer was a single chip. And they found that it can only go so fast on the current hardware and then it would just cook. So you could
Yeah.
only go so quick and that was it. So what did they do? Because of that limitation, they came up with a more efficient way to do it. So they would layer chips on top of each other and then they would have a chip which would, if, for example, got a man in a box and he rings the bell. He can only ring
Yeah.
so fast. But if
Hmm.
he can ring this way and then ring that way, every swing he's ringing twice. That's called hyperthreading.
Right.
So because of the bottleneck, technology was able to evolve to come up with a faster. Now we stack chips 10 and 20 layers deep.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's happening is we're going to see an emergence of a thing that's called on-device AI.
Mm,
On-device AI, the interference, it's going to reduce the per query energy use by approximately 90%. So remember how everybody says put your stuff in the cloud?
yeah.
Well, the cloud is just somebody else's computer.
Right.
So if I say let the cloud, current technology we use right now is cloud, cloud, cloud. So
Hmm.
you ask ChatGPT or you ask Grok or Claude, it's in the cloud on servers somewhere. All that
Hmm.
processing power happens there. Imagine now we start to think old school where we're going to pull back and put that local and you have an on-device AI.
Right.
So you just removed all that overhead.
Mm.
So the estimates are suggesting you could consume over 40% of data power by 2026. AI operations could consume over 40% of data center power by 2026. So that's crazy. That's an
That
engineering
is,
reality. We're going to run out of power. Because are we
man.
building new power plants? No. Are
No.
we building new dams, which are the most efficient way we can get water power? No. They're taking dams down, which is ecologically disastrous.
Right.
Okay, so we're not doing that. Are we building more nuclear power plants, which are very efficient and generate great amounts of power? Probably the cheapest, cleanest power we can get is nuclear. Are we doing that? No, we're not. Okay, well,
Mm.
what are we doing? We're investing or have invested in solar?
Right.
That's not cutting the mustard. You know, the ecological impact of solar is unbelievable, what it does to the ecology, what it destroys. All
Yeah.
life dies near solar farms.
Mm.
Okay, all the micro growth and little critters and bugs that we worry about, they're all dead because solar kills all that.
Wow.
How about the wind farms? I drive to California all the time, and what do I see? Massive wind farms, and what happens? 40 to 60% of the windmills aren't even running.
Wow.
So you spend all this money to put up this quote unquote power, and it doesn't even deliver power.
Mm.
So we're not doing anything to create power. We're not
Yeah.
increasing our power. The demands are going up, but we're not creating more power. So
Mm.
that's the engineering reality.
Man.
That
You know, you
we
said
don't have enough
something.
juice.
We don't have enough juice. And you just said something that was very interesting that stood out, right? You said by the end of 2026.
And we're already in March, almost April.
That's this year.
Yes, now. Now.
Yeah. Shoot.
Yeah, we're gonna reach a breaking point, is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an
So
actual breaking point.
so we're actually we're potentially building the most powerful technological infrastructure in human history, and the electrical grid feeding it is struggling to keep pace.
It can't
That
keep pace
is
as
a
it is.
real constraint. Right.
They got rolling brownouts in California.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They have them here too. They just don't hear about it. Yep.
You
The
don't hear
very
about it.
thing, yeah, the very thing everybody is betting their future on is unstable, right? Man,
It is unstable. That is
yeah.
correct. Yep.
So you
Uh,
mentioned on device AI interference. Tell us some more about that.
So okay, so like I said, right now we're pushing. Everybody's pushing cloud, cloud, cloud. Well, the problem is their thinking is they're looking at the bottom line right now. They're looking
Mhm.
at the short-term gain of, oh, if I put it in a cloud, it's cheaper overall. I don't have to have as much IT staff, and I don't have to maintain my equipment as robustly. I just offload it to somebody else, and that's what's
Right.
happening.
Okay.
Well, the problem with that is who's a bigger target?
Mm.
Local that you protect with your local hardware and make a small little tiny footprint, or
Mhm.
you're just another cog in the wheel of this massive engine. What's going to get attacked? The big engine, the
Right.
large target. And when the large target gets attacked and you're
Mhm.
just a little cog in that wheel, guess what? You get attacked too.
Mm.
And a compromise in it is a compromise in you. But all this development has pushed to cloud, 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 cloud. The
Right.
cost of that is going to it's going to be a tipping point.
Mm.
Now the problem is so many companies have already pivoted towards the cloud and are still pivoting towards the cloud, but then they realize, oh, we've got a internet outage that's 5 miles away from us and we can't work. And
Mhm.
we have access to nothing. I'll give you an example. If you have a dental office and they
Yeah.
keep their software in their dental office on their servers, as long as they have lights, power, they don't even need internet, they can perform their job.
Right.
Now, you put that all that infrastructure, put it up in the cloud. Every
Mm.
time you take an X-ray, where's it got to go? In the cloud.
Right.
You got to upload all this data. And what
Right.
happens if it's down for whatever reason? You're down.
Mhm.
And downtime is one of those things it's very difficult to accept because If you need to work, that's what makes money. If you're not working, you're not making money.
True. True.
And if the systems are down, what do you do?
What do you do? Man,
What do you do?
what do you do? Man. Look, we talked earlier, right? We had some numbers that we dropped. And one of those numbers were we spoke on 40 to 60% of manual work gone, wiped out. The work was being done by people that is arithmetic. Some of it represents roles being restructured. Some of it represents roles being eliminated. Both are true and only saying one serves nobody in this community, right? I need you guys to understand this. I need you to hear this specifically, especially my motivators, because you are the ones who carry other people, which means you need the full honesty picture so you can help others navigate it correctly, right? Sensei, can you speak on that?
And you've got to be building skills right now that the agents can't replace. And you say, well, what skills are they? Do this. Go use the tool. Ask it, hey, what are you replacing?
Right.
What job can this is what my skill set is. What can I do that's not going to be replaced? What can I do to leverage myself? And ask the tool, which is replacing your job, to help you figure out how to not be replaced. So don't just sit there and go, I don't know what to do. You're going to have to start using these tools. You should have already been using these tools. You're going to, you need to build skills that agents cannot replicate, or sitting still waiting to replace. Those are your two choices.
Absolutely.
The categories of work that remain human, we've already talked about this. Electricians, linemen, carpenters, those jobs, plumbers, physical jobs.
Yeah.
The problem is many, many jobs that are white collar jobs, that's going to be the big, big, big hit is going to be. And some of these categories are development. Oh my God, product development. Poof. Count that one's already gone. Entry level jobs. What are your young people going to do when they go into the workforce? What job are they going to have? They're not going to work at McDonald's. Why? Because they're already using kiosks to order food. They're already developing and putting in place full restaurants that don't have one person runs the whole thing.
True.
So it's not comfortable, but if you don't, I hear this all the time, and especially when I talk to young folks. Oh, I don't do computers. Okay, so when your job goes away, now what? Oh, wait, we did a session on that one. It's called UBI, Universal Basic Income.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's coming. And we talked about what happens to make that happen too.
Yeah. That. Exactly. We sure did. Listen, people, that was in season 3, man. Y'all go check that out. Listen. And I want you guys to understand something. The threat is not that AI takes jobs. The threat is that the person in those jobs is not building the capabilities that agents cannot replicate. Use the tool, right? Agents automate execution. They cannot replicate judgment forged in lived experiences. Talking about you, right? They cannot replicate creative vision developed through your failures. They cannot replicate authentic human relationships built over time. They cannot operate with wisdom in environments where the data is incomplete and the stakes are real. Those capabilities persist and grow in value, but only in the people who deliberately develop them. They do not survive by default in someone coasting inside a role being absorbed. The rebirth, right? The rebirth of your career is not something that happens to you. It is something that shows before the market makes the choice for you, right? Sensei, thank you for that, man. And look, as he said, use the tool to help you, right? If you look, it's not even a point where if you feel like your position is threatened. I'm telling you, your position is threatened. You need to use the tool to help you, right? If you think, I'm telling you, listen, doesn't matter what field you're in, medical field, admin field, legal field. Look, I'm telling you, man, they're developing some things and you need to get on top of it. Not tomorrow. You need to do it now, right? You need to do it now. And now we're going to talk about everything that we've talked about and how we convert it to action, right? Because we built this show, right? And we want you to understand there's 5 moves you could do in 90 days, right? 5 moves you could do in 90 days. Move 1, audit your workflow. Move 2, get inside in at least one agentic AI model, right? Move 3, hire or become someone who can build agent workflows. Move 4, access your AI security posture before someone exploits it. And move 5, position your personal brand as AI fluent, right? AI fluency is one of the most valuable skills you can send in 2026. And Sensei, can you speak on it from a technical aspect?
Yeah, from technical aspect, okay, there's the differences between narrow agents and multimodal autonomous agents. And why the model architecture matters is as much as the model name. And from the next 18 months is going to be huge. Okay. And those 5 moves are important. 5 moves are important. You're not just going to watch YouTube videos. You're going to go do it. You need to do it.
Do it.
Okay. And you need to go find, if you say, well, I don't know how to do it, there are classes you can take to help you to do this.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to learn on your own, you need somebody to teach you, there's classes out there. Take a class, learn about it,
Right.
learn about AI models, and actually where you do work it hands on.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to create for yourself a map and follow the blueprint. Ask an AI tool to create for me, hey, I have this much time to get fluent in AI.
Yeah.
Build me a roadmap that I can do, and I work X amount of hours per week, and I have this much time available to dedicate. Build me a roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
That's not hard. Come up with that.
Yeah.
Tell the AI tool that you use, your choice, to build a roadmap or a blueprint for you. Then follow the damn blueprint.
Right.
Treat it like you would a workout. You're going to go run a marathon. Do you
Yeah.
go out and run 26 miles cold, or do you build up to it?
You build.
So this is what you need to do. You realize you've got 18 months. You got 18 months to get ready. There's a marathon coming.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do between now and then? You start. Start
Yep.
small. Work your way up.
Yep.
That's what you need to do. You need to have homework. You need to be able to take time away from things that are useless to you and spend it on something that's going to matter to you. Do you want to have the ability to maintain your job or get a better job, or at least not lose your job? If you don't think that matters, great, you're in a great position. But
Yeah.
just be careful, because if you blink, it can be gone in the blink of an eye.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that, my friends, is why he is the Sensei, right? So, Sensei, I'm getting ready to give you the floor, right? I'm getting ready to give you the floor. This is your segment, man. I want you to give the smarts advanced technical context. I want you to get the final bosses the edge intelligence. Give the warriors the field brief, and the motivators the vision to run toward it, right? The stuff the community verifies, researches, and digs deeper on after the show ends. The floor is yours.
Like I said, you need to build a map. Number one thing you have to do is I have to build a map. I've got to do check boxes. If you're going to plan a trip to go somewhere, what do you got to do? You plan the trip and you start checking off. All right, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done. You have to have your 10 things you do to make the trip work. You got to do the same thing here. You have to create a accountable, that you are accountable to yourself to learn what these things are, learn how to use these tools. And actually, the only way you're going to learn new things is to do. I haven't gone to college for what I know. I learned by having a necessity. I had a need, I learned.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find a niche or a need, and then you have to learn. So give yourself a purpose or a reason. And then once you have that purpose or reason, learn how to get it done. So you do have to set goals. And if you don't set goals, you're never going to get anywhere.
Right.
You have to set goals. You have to say, I am going to, like, I'm planning a trip to ride my motorcycle cross country. The
Mm-hmm.
detail in that planning for that trip is absolutely insane. And I have a certain amount of time to get ready. And I'm making everything fit. And I have check boxes that I have to monitor. Do I have that done? Am I following through? Because every piece of that puzzle is going to make that experience function the way it should. If I
Right.
don't perform correctly and think far enough ahead, I'm going to be lacking or left behind or not meet my deadlines.
Mm.
So you have to treat this the same way. You have this massive thing that's coming. You have to get ready for it.
Mm.
Now, you have to start today and don't stop.
Right.
Once you get started, don't stop. Use the tools
Yeah.
to do this. Use the
Absolutely.
current technology
Mm-hmm.
to ask it the questions. I want to do this. I need to get better at AI. I need a blueprint.
Yeah.
And then once you get the blueprint, save it off of the cloud and put
Mm-hmm.
it local on your system so you can refer back to it. And
Right.
then if you need help expanding on it, take that section and go back and go, hey, I need help expanding this, or I'm stuck on this. How do I get past this bottleneck?
Right.
And then keep fill, backfill, cross check. Because if you just go in one time and go, I need to do this, it's going to give you too much
Yeah.
information. You can't deal with it. You need to parse it into smaller chunks.
Right.
So pull the data off of your language model, put it
Mm-hmm.
local, and then create a calendar or a spreadsheet or whatever you want to use as a tool,
Right.
and then follow it every day,
Absolutely. Every day.
every day.
Man. Every single time. Every single time. That is the sensei, man. And look, well, we got a few more minutes. We're going over. Give us 5 more minutes, people. 5 more minutes. Just 5 more minutes, right? I need you to pull way back with me for a minute, right? Because as much as tonight has been specifically about agentic AI, there's a signal above the signal that I need to give this community right now, right? Every Tech Tuesday, we connect, right? We connect on one thesis. The systems being built right now, AI agents, quantum processing, autonomous infrastructure, energy architecture, are not supporting the world we currently live in. They are building the world that comes next. The foundation of a civilization that does not yet fully exist is being poured right now in this year, 2026. And people who understand are the architects. They're designing the structure, deciding what gets built and how and for whom. Everyone else is a tenant in the building. Those architects design, living inside systems they had no hand in shaping, paying whatever price the architecture demands, right? And you need to understand that, right? You need to understand that. So, season 4, we're going to be pressing the question into every episode. The answer lives in every decision you make after this one, right? The work you do inside of this season, right? The rebirths you execute, the capabilities you build, the positions you establish, that is the seed going into the ground right now. The harvest is coming. What are you going or what are you doing tonight determines what you collect when the harvest arrives. Sensei.
Look, you can either become what the world needs,
Mm-hmm.
or you're going to be a relic of the old one.
Mm.
You're going to choose what you're going to become.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Mm. Man, that hits. That hits. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, This has been episode 208 of Tech Tuesdays with the Sensei. Season 4, the Rebirth, right? We gave you 5 things to carry out. Right? And you make sure you get on those things. I'm not going to repeat them. Sensei already did, right? Those 5 things are critical, crucial. You need to follow them. You need to get on it. You need to get on it tonight, right? But listen, before I close, I want to give the Sensei everything he deserves, right? Because the Sensei does not just show up, he delivers. Every Tuesday, the Sensei brings the technical precision, the clarity, and the credibility to take this community somewhere that cannot go without him, right? Sensei, episode 208, you showed out tonight, man. Thank you. Right? Thank you.
I like to say it this way, and I say it all the time. We study the machine. We don't argue with the decorations.
Study machine, don't argue with the decoration, man. That is the Sensei, people. Look, the rest of season 4, the rest of this week, tomorrow is Merger Wednesdays, and then Thursday be a special guest Thursday, right? But Thursday, we have a nice guest lineup, right? Something we've assembled, a panel. We're going to see how it works out, right? And then I'll be back on Sitting Down Sundays, all right? 101. Just us having a conversation, right? Now ask yourself, right? And do not wait. Make sure you share this information out, right? Share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Make sure you tag us, right? Give us a rate. Give us a review. Make sure you subscribe, right? And to my smarts, share because they understand the value of what is being delivered. The final bosses share because you build communities. The motivators share because you are lifting up other people. And the warriors share because you never leave your team behind. This community grows by bringing people into real conversations, not shallow ones, not comfortable ones, real ones, right? That's what we do. You are not a tenant in somebody else's future. This is your future. You are the architect of it, right? You need to start acting like it. I am your host, the final boss. That is my co-host, the Sensei. This has been season 4, episode 208. Remember, the final boss never loses. Good night, right? Oh, wait a minute. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
And good night.
And if it resonates with you, man, like I said, share it out and let that marinate in your spine. And always remember, there's a heavy pain that comes with discipline, but the pain of regret is even heavier. I am here. We are here. And be equal. I mean, be balanced, be equal, and be smart. Hopefully, my voice will be ready. Hopefully, my voice will be ready. But that's our show, man. Thank you for tuning in. Sensei, hold on, sir. Y'all have a good one.